Okay, so welcome everybody to this month's webinar. My name is Alicia, and today I'm joined by my colleague Udam. Hi, Udam.
Hello, Alicia, and hello, everyone here. I am Udom. I'm the Career Development Specialist at RMC Asia. It's great to see everyone here, and we are ready to begin this exciting webinar.
All right, so this month's session is going to be all about what you can expect from a cultural exchange program with RMC Asia. So we will be addressing a few frequently asked questions as well as some practical details related to our programs. And I think from here we can begin. So the first thing that I want to share with those of you who might be new to RMC Asia is just a little bit of background about our company. So RMC Asia is based in Bangkok, Thailand. However, our team members work all around the world, and that is how we're able to assist students, graduates, and young professionals from many different countries. And the main thing that we do is we provide cultural exchange programs specifically in the hospitality industry. So this is how we're able to place our candidates and our participants into five-star hotels in many different countries across Asia and the Middle East. And actually this year it's our 10 years anniversary. So it's been a whole decade of RMC Asia, and we're excited to continue providing our services for many more years to come. All right, and now to one of the key subjects of today. So I'm going to start asking questions, and then Udon will be the one who will explain everything to you guys. One of the most important topics that we get asked about is about the perks and benefits that come with our programs. So I think this is something that's very important to consider if you're thinking of joining. What will you get from the program? And with that, Udam, if you don't mind, could you please explain to us what is included in the full board benefits that are provided by our partner hotels?
All right, thank you, Alicia, for the question. So first of all, we need to understand that this is a cultural exchange program. So first and foremost, your focus should be to gain international experience, to gain cultural exchange experience in the other destination that you are visiting. However, including the experience that you will have while doing a cultural exchange program, we offer many other full on-board benefits, such as, first of all, we have the monthly allowance that is provided by the hotel, and as well as the accommodation that is provided. We also provide meal, well, not actually us, but our partner hotel will be providing all of the daily necessities. So the visa sponsorship is also included, as well as the medical insurance, although the medical insurance itself varies between one destination to another. Some destination may provide it to you by default. Some destination may apply based on the hotel itself. All right, and then depending on some host organization, they may provide you with additional perk. As you may know that there are many big brand hotels such as the Marriott, Legoa, and all of these big brands hotel. So each different brands, they have their own special benefit that is to reveal during the interview when you have with the hiring manager, as well as the benefit that will vary between one department to another as well. So for example, if you were to work in the F&B department, tips and service charge, these are the common benefits that you may receive, and is some extra money that you can work on top of the monthly allowance that you are provided.
Okay, thank you so much for explaining this, Udam. I think with all these benefits considered, what we can reassure you guys of is that you will not really have to worry about anything because many of the things are already provided. So in majority of the cases, you don't have to think about, oh, where am I going to live when I move to another country? How about the food? Like all of these questions are pretty much resolved for you in advance. Okay, and then I think the next big question that we frequently get, because a lot of our applicants may have never been to Asia or the Middle East, it could be their first time traveling abroad, is about the living costs. So what can our candidates expect from the living costs in different countries?
Well, first of all, as you can see, all most of the benefits are pretty much provided to you. Allowance, accommodation, even utilities are taken care of. So most of the time, you will not be needing to spend anything. However, with the allowance you are given, you may be able to cover the basic expenses outside of what provided. So, for example, if you're looking to buy grocery to cook for yourself outside of the times that you are from the meals that you are provided, or maybe you're just looking for a fresh new experience of doing a picnic during your time off. This is something that you can do as well. But the allowance itself, it's just enough for you to cover for what of the basic needs. Okay, and as for, it's not something for you to be able to live lavishly off it. Okay, and of course the cost of living would differ by different country as well. So for example, as you can imagine, UAE, one of our top destination, Dubai in particular, or Abu Dhabi, this is quite an expensive city. That means that the cost of grocery, the cost of the basic necessity will definitely be a lot higher than other destinations such as Thailand, such as the Maldives. So before you take your step into the country itself, you may want to do some research about what are the expected costs for you to spend and spare as well. And of course, any additional extra expenses, you may need some more budgeting. As I mentioned, the allowance itself will be provided, but it is for basic living expenses only. So if your personal lifestyle would include living over the provided benefit, then you may need some additional expense that you need to take care of it by yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think something that's important to note here is, let's say if you're somebody who likes entertainment or you like shopping, for example, in some cases you may need to have your own additional savings, of course. However, in terms of basic necessities, or just as an example, let's say you need to use public transportation, most of the time all of this can be covered within the monthly allowance from your host organization.
That's right.
Okay, and then still keeping on in the same subject, I think Udom mentioned that in many cases the living costs can vary across different countries, right? So, for example, in the Middle East, they might be a bit higher than in Southeast Asia. However, in terms of the allowances and the benefits themselves, are there any differences between different destinations and different hotels?
Well, yes, thank you for the question once again. So in general, for if we're talking about the basic allowance that is provided, the allowance that is provided in the Middle East is typically a bit higher than it is in provided in Southeast Asia, given that the cost of living in Southeast Asia is particularly a lot less than the Middle East country. But other than that, in terms of the any other different benefits that you may see if you were to compare the Middle East and Southeast Asia. So first of all, it comes to the medical insurance. The medical insurance itself in the Middle East country. So for our destination, that includes UAE, Bahrain, Oman, and the Maldives. Oh, sorry, not the Maldives. So these countries, they would provide you the medical insurance by default, as it is part of their labor law that they are required to provide you. So most of the time, you will not need to be buying any additional medical insurance to cover or protect yourself during your stay over there. However, our other destination in Southeast Asia, for example, Thailand, Vietnam, the Maldives, it would depend case by case, depends on hotel by hotel, as the law in those said country do not require you, well, they do not require the host organization to provide the medical insurance to you. So in those cases, it would depend on the hotel themselves if they will provide you or not. And if they provide you, then that's good. You don't need to buy anything for yourself. However, in the event that they do not provide any medical insurance for you, you will need to consider buying your own medical insurance before traveling to the said destination, because we understand the struggle of those who does not have a medical insurance when they are abroad. The cost of medical expenses could be a lot higher if you do not have any medical insurance. And next would be, of course, the meals. So in terms of the meals, although generally they are provided, there's a bit of a differences that varies with between one hotel to another. So the thing is that some hotel may provide you the meals for every day, meaning that includes 7 day and for whole month. But some hotel may provide you only for your working day. So if, let's say, for example, you were to work 5 days a week, 6 day a week, then that means that those meals that are provided are limited to when you are working only. So when you're not working, 1 day off or 2 day off, you will need to take care of your own meals. Perhaps you can go out and enjoy the local food, or maybe you can find somewhere and cook your own food. That's definitely an option as well. And last but not least, so for the visa expenses, as we mentioned earlier, the visa sponsorship itself will be provided. However, there may be some documents that may require you to pay some additional, which will be considered as your own expense. Of course, like we mentioned, the expense, as long as you provide us all of the document required for the visa process itself, we will be able to move forward, and you won't need to worry about the visa application fees, which this is something that the host organization will take care of it for you. But the document that is required, for example, if the the visa process require you to have a police clearance certificate, which you need to go to the police station and pay some fee to get those said document, then those fees that you pay to get the document will be considered as your own expense.
Okay, thank you so much for clarifying, Udom. I think this kind of helps to set the expectations for some candidates. So regarding, let's say, visa coverage fees, this will really depend on which destination country you end up going to. And of course, our team will explain all of the details, all of the documents required, and all of the spendings as soon as you get your offer and you know where you're going. So don't worry about that. We will help you to prepare for all of this.
Exactly.
Okay, and then speaking of expectations, I think that we do often have certain misunderstandings or questions that we get asked about a few of the topics. So these are about the offers as well as allowances and timing. So what are some common misunderstandings that you encounter as a career development specialist with us?
All right, thank you for the question. So in general, also most of the time, first of all, people usually confuse the allowance to the salary, because the thing is that it's important to once again remember that what we offer is a cultural exchange program. So this is meant for development purpose. This is not for a job or a permanent job, for example, right? So what we call in place of a salary will be the allowance, which the allowance is provided for the basic living expenses on top of what they are provided. It's not exactly something that they provide you for what you work for. That's called a full-time job, but this is not a full-time job. This is a cultural exchange program. So on top of giving you all of the on-board benefit, they will provide you with the allowance for you to cover any other basic living expenses that you may that they may cover, that they may not cover for you. And then the rest of the program will be for the development purpose. It's not a full-time job. All right. And next would be for the terms and conditions that you may be able to negotiate. Again, this is a cultural exchange program. So this is a program that has structure, meaning that they intend to have you to for development purpose, for cultural exchange purpose, which is why most of the time the structure, the offer, the benefits and everything are pretty much set in stone already. So what you're doing is that you're participating in those programs. However, it's not that everything will not be negotiable at all. Some terms that may be negotiable, such as the starting date, the duration of the program, or perhaps some other expenses, or perhaps you may be able to negotiate for some extra benefit if you believe that you have a particular skill that could be helpful. So for example, in the front office department where language proficiency is highly regarded. So if you were, for example, to have a skill set in the Chinese, in German, these are valuable skills that you should discuss with the hiring manager, and this will open up you to a few more additional perks that normal applicant who are only proficient in English may only have. And last but not least, the thing is that what we do is that we introduce you to hiring manager, and we we make sure that your profile gets directly to the hiring manager through a direct channel, and them for them to review to review your profile directly. It's special because you are not one of the 10,000 applicants that are applying through a normal channel, but you are one of the few applicants that will definitely get their resume reviewed by the hiring manager. However, in the end, the decision is up to the hiring manager whether or not they would like to have an interview with you. So in that case, not everyone will definitely get an immediate placement. Sometimes you may be competing with other applicants who are more of a fit to the programs to this particular hotel, which is a shame, but we will need to accept that and we move on to the next placement. However, please rest assured that we will always try to introduce you to the best of the hotels that we have connection with.
All right, thank you so much for answering these questions. I think this will help to clear up some misunderstandings that we often get. And with regards to placement and timing, I think this will be the focus of our next key topic for today's session, which is the application process. So because Udam deals with this process directly and helps applicants to go through this step by step, could you please explain to us how the application process works and how is the timeline in terms of application, registration, and so on?
Certainly. So if we were to summarize up the process, first of all, it will be for you, the applicant, to submit the application directly to our website or through our email, and then which we will review your application. And if you are eligible for our program, we will send the interview invitation, or you can call it the initial virtual discussion, where you will have a chat with one of our career development specialists to understand fully of what the program offer, what are the process involved, and so on. And after having all of this information, and you are interested in joining and participating in our program, then we will be able to move on to the registration, which the career development specialist will also assist you throughout this process. And after that, you will be able to start the interview process, which we will try our best to match your profile to the preferences that we discussed during the initial virtual discussion. And from there, we will be able to assist you all along the way. And keep in mind that the whole process itself may take up from 2 to 6 months. It would depend on many factors. So first of all, we would highly encourage applicants to apply at least between, I would say, 4 to 5 or 6 months before their desired starting date. The reason why is that because, first of all, our initial interview process, we would recommend our applicant to spare at least 1 to 2 months for the interview process. Of course, if you were to be able to secure an offer quickly, after the first month, after the first few weeks, then that's good. But in case that the hiring season may be a bit slow, then it could take a bit of time, which is why we would recommend you to spare some time in between. All right, and as soon as you receive the interview invitation, we will be able to guide you through the process. We will set up an interview between you and the hiring manager, and then you will be able to have the interview with the hiring manager and discuss all of the important information. And let's say you secure an offer from that set interview, then we will be able to move on to the visa process and so on. All right. And of course, the application process itself, the timing involved could also depend on the availability, the department, or the host's need as well, because there's also the department that you are hiring is particularly important because first of all, the 4 core departments of the hotel industry that the hotel hiring manager are looking for is the front office, F&B, kitchen, and housekeeping. These are the 4 core departments that have many needs for, but depending on the department, the availability, and the destination as well, it could affect the time. So the key is to be as open-minded as possible to increase your chance of getting selected.
All right, thank you so much for walking us through this, Unam. And just to reassure you guys, if you do apply or if you have already applied, I'm sure this whole process has been explained to you in detail. So don't worry about it. If it's still unclear, you can always ask us, you can always clarify. But the main thing is, if you're already in that process, please be on the lookout for emails because this is our main platform for communications, and this is how we will update you on every single step as well as any potential, let's say, interviews or offers that you might get.
Indeed.
Okay, and regarding the hiring seasons, I think this is something that's also important and that affects the timing when it comes to hiring in hospitality. So, could you explain to us, Udam, what are some factors related to the hiring seasons and how can they affect the frequency of interviews and the timing of different offers?
Certainly. So in terms of the hiring season, usually in the hospitality industry in particular, they would be hiring the most during the busy season of the year. So one is the busy season of the year. That would usually be at the end of the year, starting from around September, which they are looking to hire for many big events, many upcoming events such as some Halloween, Christmas, New Year. These are the events that normal people may take their time to relax, go on vacation, and this is the time that where hospitality workers tend to get busy the most. So it's important that you understand the hiring season. So the hiring season would start from September until the start of the year, which from there, the peak hiring season or the high season will be ending, and we will be going into the off-peak months, or you call them the low season, which is something that has lower vacancy, which means that you may experience some delay or wait time during those times. So, but again, we will still try our best to introduce you as soon as possible and find you a suitable opportunity.
Okay, thank you, Udam. And just to add on top of this, our opportunities are available all year round. So even if you apply during the off season, we will try our best and we will have some connections who might be hiring during those times, just because off-peak months and lower seasons allow the hotels to spend a bit more time on training new candidates. So I guess this is the benefit of working during the off season as well.
Mhm.
Okay, and then moving on to our next big subject, which is again something that we do get a lot of questions about, and this is a process that I would say is a little bit complicated. So this is where we probably get the most concerns, and that is the visa processing. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the types of visa. So if you don't mind, Adam, could you please tell us what types of visas are available for the destinations?
Indeed. So thank you for the question. So the type of visa would depend on the destination themselves, but mostly we could divide them into a few categories such as the work visa, the training visa, or the internship visa. These are the most common visa that we work with. Most of the time we are working with the e-visa, which is an electronic visa that would only requires you to submit certain document to us online in a PDF or in a Word format, and we will take care of the application process on your behalf. However, some destination may require you to visit the embassy in your own country to submit certain document to get a stamp, such thing. But no worries, we will guide you through the process if there is a need for you to visit the embassy itself.
Okay, thank you. And just to clarify, for those of you who are asking about the visa type before you get any offers or invitations, just be a little bit patient. Once you get your offer and you already know which country you're going to, we will explain to you how the visa process works and what type of visa you need to get. So don't worry about it too much in advance.
Mhm.
Okay, and then the next frequent question that we get is how long is the visa processing? Because of course, timelines are very important, and in some cases, there can be delays.
Mhm. That's right. So in terms of the duration for the visa process itself, it would depend on the type of visa that we're working at and the destination of the visa that we are working for. So, but in general, it would only take you around 1 to 2 months on top of 3 months. That is some other rare case that you may experience. However, please ensure that we are working our best. As soon as we get the green light to move forward with the visa process, we will take care of everything and get back to you with any updates. And what on your side, what you can do is that you can make sure to submit all of the document correctly based on our instruction, so that there are no delays, there are no back and forth between us with the immigration or with the embassy. And make sure to follow the instruction precisely from our side, and everything will be all good and taken care of within the expected timeline.
Okay, thank you for clarifying this. However, in some cases, it does happen that visas get rejected because, again, this is outside of RMC Asia's control, and the visas are handled by the embassies or by the consular services of specific countries. So, in such cases, what happens to participants if their visa gets rejected?
Well, if their visa get rejected, that is unfortunate, but we will not be able to move forward with their current placement, which means that we will offer the candidates an alternative to this. So what they can do is that either you will continue the process with a new placement, a new destination perhaps, or a new host organization, or you may also have the options to stop the application and get a partial refund on this.
All right, thank you. I think this clears it up. And also, for those of you who are wondering if your visa does get rejected, we will, of course, explain to you all the options in detail, and then you will be able to decide which option suits you best in your specific case. Because in some cases, like let's say if you're flexible on timing and you can give it a bit more, a few more weeks or a couple of months, we can, of course, proceed and try to find the next best offer as soon as possible. But if, let's say, you have a very urgent case, you may want to postpone or you may want to request for a refund in such cases. Okay, and then once the visa process is done and then you are ready to travel and finally you're traveling to your destination country, there are a few more steps that you're working with us during your first week and your arrival. Of course, we do provide you in-program support, but we wanted to share a little bit about how this first initial arrival works. So, Udom, could you please explain to us what happens with every applicant, every participant when they first arrive at their destination country?
Indeed. So first of all, one of our perks will be to coordinate with the hiring manager and prepare an airport pickup for you. In most of the destination, there may be some host organization or certain destination that does not require an airport pickup. However, most of our destination that we work with will provide you with an airport pickup, meaning that when you first arrive at your destination, we will have someone wait for you at a certain location, which we will provide you with the information, the contacts of the said person, so you can reach out to him or her, and then you get to meet to the meeting spot, and they will take care of everything else, meaning that they will help you with the luggage, they will take you to the hotel or to the accommodation, and which the accommodation will be ready for your arrival, and you can prepare and unpack to prepare your new life over there.
All right, that sounds very reassuring. So this is, I think, especially important for those of you watching this who might be traveling for the very first time, or maybe you have never been to this country before and you were worried about getting lost or, not finding your way around. So don't worry about this. You'll be constantly in contact with us as well as with the person who will be arranging your pickup. Okay, and then once you have traveled from the airport to the hotel and you kind of settled in, you have your accommodation ready and everything, the next step that comes is the orientation process. So how does this work?
So the orientation process, as the name suggests, so first of all, you will be looking for the introduction, whether it's to the HR department or to your own department where you will be working at. You will be meeting your teammate, you will be meeting your supervisor, for example. And of course, there are certain documents that you may need to submit or sort out before you can officially work and officially start your journey. And of course, they will also provide you with the uniforms as well as the rules, explain to you what are the things that you need to be aware of, and so on. And of course, the important thing is for you to be able to prepare and start your training. So of course, when it comes to an internship, this is meant for development purpose, meaning you will be provided a training from the very start. You will be given all of the basic information and for you to start working on getting new experience.
All right, thank you. So I think this makes it a little bit more clear on what to expect when you first arrive. Again, you will be guided through this whole process. So in this case, once you're doing the actual onboarding with the hotel, it will be the hotel and your supervisor who will guide you through these steps. All right, and then final question on this subject is actually about RMC Asia's support. So how do we and our team, how do we support every participant during the program itself?
All right, perfect. Thank you for your question. So, as soon as you arrive at your destination, the hotel or the host organization will be considered as your employer. So, of course, every other matters should be reported to them first and foremost. However, AMC Asia will still support you for the full duration of your program in case you need extra support or anything. But as I mentioned, most of the matters that are related to your work should be discussed with the HR or with your supervisor first. However, if there are some personal issue or some issue that still persists after asking for help from the host organization, then you can come to us to let us know about your issue so we can perhaps discuss once again with the hotel and see if there is anything that we can support you on this. And of course, we will also check up on you every few weeks to make sure that you are settled in and everything. So you can also expect some WhatsApp messages or email to check with us. So if you have any updates, or of course, if you have any photos, any enjoyable moments that you would like to share with us, please feel free to share with us as well. And of course, if there are any other, for example, most of our partners that we work with, we are very confident in their training, in their quality, and in their value as a hotel. However, if there are certain violation that we are not aware of, please let us know immediately so we can intervene and help you if needed.
All right, thank you so much for the detailed explanation, Udam. I think this is very clear, and we're ready to move to our final topic, I think, about a reality checks and tips. So because the main subject of today's session is managing expectations, I think some of the other questions that we do get, or some of the issues that we sometimes deal with when participants come to us with concerns, is about questions such as work schedules, as well as adapting to the culture. I think sometimes younger people, especially if they are traveling or living abroad for the first time, they might have culture shock, for example. So what are some tips from your side about how to manage such expectations and how to deal with these kind of smaller issues, I would say?
All right, thank you for your question. So I would say for me personally, to manage the expectation, meaning for you to actually see what the actual things are happening and it's not like some sort of fantasy where you think about hospitality as a dreamland where you can have fun all the time. So you will need to do some research on them ahead of time. And first of the things that you need to do the research on is the working hour and the working days. So it's important to know that in the hospitality industry, it's an industry where you are available to serve clients, to serve other people. That means that most of the time you will be working 5 to 6 days a week, depending on the location of the hotel, and you will be working around 9 to 10 hours per day with a 1 hour break. And of course, there are certain days, especially when it comes to the high season or the holiday season, where you may need to work extra hour, which this is something that could be considered as an overtime. But in general, you will need to be prepared for quite a long hour because this is what the hospitality is about. And of course, in terms of the day offs, you will get 1 to 2 days off depending on the location itself and the hotel the hotel agreement, and but the day off itself can be flexible. So if you, for example, it doesn't, if you were to work, let's say Monday to Saturday every day, and you get a day off on Sunday, it doesn't have to be Sunday that you take the day off. It can be, you can take probably on Wednesday if you are able to find someone or have a discussion with the hiring manager, sorry, the HR manager, to find a possible fill in for that time. Then you may be able to take your day off on Wednesday instead, and then you can continue to work on Sunday. This is something that is flexible and something for you to be able to do as well. And last but not least, it's for you to respect the local cultural norms and adapt to the workplace standards. So there's this thing that they say that when in Rome, you need to be like Roman. So in this case, when you are going to one destination, whether it's in Thailand, whether it's in UAE, it's important that you adapt to their culture. You cannot expect them to adapt to your culture. You will need to bend into their culture instead, because you are in their country. So it's important that you learn that what are the rules, what are the norms over there, and you will need to strictly follow that.
Okay, thank you so much for explaining this, Udom. I think this really clarifies one of the questions that we also get about the working schedules. So just as a little heads up, it's very normal in the Middle East that you will need to work for 6 days a week. This is just how it works there. This is how the hospitality industry operates there. So of course, we respect that and we follow these standards just because this is the norm in that region.
Mhm.
Okay, and then on a more positive note, to wrap up our session for today is, I guess, on some more exciting tips. How would you recommend our participants to make the most of their program and kind of be able to enjoy it, not just, go and just work all day long and not do anything else?
Well, indeed, I've mentioned this a few times already, but this is a cultural exchange program. Okay? It's not something that you have to strictly work yourself. Of course, you can think of it as a serious work where you get your professional experience, learning new skills and everything. But don't forget to have the work-life balance as well. You're going to the other destination, the new destination, the countries that you've never been to for the first time. So it's important for you to also take a breather in between for you to be able to enjoy your time over there. For example, if you are going to the Maldives, the country surrounded with islands, beaches, and resort, it's not you shouldn't be focusing on the 5 days that you're working, but you should also think about the 2 days that you have off, which beach you should go to, which resort you should go to. Think of it as something to motivate you during your working time. So that way you can work, get professional experience, and enjoy at the same time. And of course, you need to also be flexible to all of the changes. As we mentioned, when you are in their country, you need to follow their rules and standards. So you may be seeing some different things that are not usually how it is in your own country, and that's normal. This is part of the cultural exchange. You are learning about how other culture, how other people in other countries behave and do around the things. And of course, making friends with colleagues, this is very important, because when you work in the hospitality industry, especially from our program, you will be meeting with many other different nationality. It's not just the locals that are working there, but many other different nationalities. So you can perhaps make some friends and learn even more different culture. And perhaps you can also collectively discuss what are the strange things that well, perhaps a strange behavior that you see here compared to your own country. It's something like an icebreaker or a topic for you to make friends. And of course, you need to also plan about your personal expenses as well, as I mentioned, although most of the basic benefits are provided, including the allowance, but this does not mean that you will be able to live very well, lavishly. So if you yourself have a lifestyle that may be a bit high maintenance, you want to make sure to have extra cash or extra money to prepare for, to support your set lifestyle. Okay? It's not that you have to adapt to living frugal, but you will also need to prepare if you understand that you yourself is quite high maintenance. Okay, and last but not least, enjoy your time over there. This is the most important thing. It's a program that is designed for you to get professional experience and enjoy your life at the new destination. Although it may be short, maybe it's just for 6 months, maybe it's just for 1 year, but that could be one of the most unforgettable moments that we could have had in your life. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for these positive tips, Udam. I think this is really important to remember. And for a lot of our participants, you're still young, you're doing this for the first time. So definitely try to make the most of this experience. And, if you ever have any problems or issues, we're always here to support you every step of the way.
That's right.
Okay, so on this note, I believe we've come to the end of our session. But as usual, I wanted to leave the floor open for any questions from our viewers because I think we've covered quite a lot. So if anyone has any further questions or anything you want to clarify, please feel free to send it in the chat or just speak out.
Does anyone have any question?
Everyone is a bit quiet today. Oh, we have a raised hand. Hello, Elsie.
Hello. Sorry. Thank you so much for a good session. I think it's been very informative. I did, however, just have one question for clarification. So I'm the Alumni Liaison and Partnerships Officer here at BIHC, and I channel basically our students and alum to join RMC Asia for Progression as an option. And a lot of, or maybe something to clarify is that I understand that a lot of our students want to tap into management roles. And I understand that the competition could be very steep, especially because they're up against people who are, let's say, for example, doing degrees, like, for someone who'd like to work in finance in a hotel will probably look for someone who has some sort of credential from a university in finance. However, there are some of our students, quite a number actually, that do have other certifications, not just the diploma from BIHC, but also, a degree in finance, degrees in marketing, and so on and so forth. I just want to kind of understand, because a lot of them, or at least from what I'm seeing, and they're not getting some of these opportunities. And I just wanted to ask, what else can they do to give them that edge? Because if we're already at par with someone who also has a degree in set topics or subjects, how exactly can we help them with the competition? Or what can I advise them to get so that they're also, kind of given these opportunities?
Okay, Udam, would you like to answer this or do you want me to respond?
All right, thank you for your question. So just to clarify, what you were asking is that some of the applicants are looking to do go for a management training program instead of a normal internship, and you're looking for some tips that could give them some edge to qualify or compete with other applicants for the management training program. Is that correct?
Yes, that's very correct.
All right, perfect. So thank you for your questions once again. So in terms of the program itself, from our side, we don't have any problem with giving them the management training program. That's one thing. But as you said, the competition is very quite fierce. So we want them to really get into a program that is the most fitting for them the most. So that means that in terms of the programs that we offer, there are different requirements or certain achievements that they need to have before they are able to qualify or perhaps compete with other applicants on a leveling ground. So first of all, the internship itself, it is designed for someone with no prior experience, with some education or some experience, you may say, for them to be able to get a fresh start in the luxury hotels industry, in the hospitality industry. for them to get to know the hotel more. However, for the management training program, this set program is designed for something more advanced, meaning that they should have some sort of professional experience before prior to joining this set program, because this program in particular is designed for you or the applicant to learn more about the higher up management part of the set department. So for example, in your case, it would be in the finance department. So as a finance management trainee, they are expected to have all of the basic knowledge in the finance department. And by basic knowledge, we're not necessarily referring to the knowledge or the things that you get from learning only. We would the things that the most edge that they would give to the management training program would be the professional experience that you get. So maybe if they have been working as a finance intern or a finance assistant at some sort of respectable firm, this is absolutely something that could boost their profile, that could put them into the same level as the other applicants that are looking for the management training program. Because on the same level, on the same note, our other finance management trainee also packed with quite a good profile, I would say. So that means that you are much more or less competing with them. That means that from our side, we want to put applicants competing with each other on the same level. It's not like we don't want to have someone compete with like a handicap. Okay, which is why we would suggest each applicant equally to the opportunity or to the programs that they are fit to do the most. So does that answer your question?
Yes, that answers my question. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have any other question? Yes, please go ahead.
Hi, my
Hello.
name is Samari Sali. I had a question about previously you said the payment for the how much the organization pays you. You said it differs with very different hotels. So what's the minimal amount they can give you?
All right. So thank you for your question. So yes, it would differ. It would differ from one hotel to another. That is definitely true. And of course, the hotel brand also affects this. Some hotel brand may give you a slightly higher allowance. But in general, if we were to give you an average range, it would be to give you by the region or the destination instead. So for destination in the Middle East, such as UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Oman, we're looking at something like $200 to $250 a month on average. Okay, but again, this is on average. If we're talking about in one particular hotel, they may have a different average, a different standard, but in general, you can expect to see around there. Okay, and as for the Asian countries such as Thailand, Maldives, or somewhere in Vietnam, you may expect to see a bit lower than that, as the cost of living is a bit lower than that. So we're looking at 150 to 200 or possibly 250, depending on some location. Or if you're in the major cities, such as in Thailand, for example, if you're in Bangkok, then maybe you will get a slightly higher allowance than if you're placed in Phuket, for example. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have a question?
All right, I think there are no more questions. I just wanted to add on to a couple of Udon's answers regarding, first of all, the management training program. Just to sum up the general requirement, we do look at least 1 year of professional experience in the relevant department that you're applying for the management training for. So for example, if one is applying for a management training in the front office, you should have at least 1 year of internship and or work experience in the front office. So this will be one of the things that will give you that boost or give an edge to your CV and help you to stand out from other candidates. So yeah, I would say this is the main point, of course. And with regards to allowance, I think Udam explained everything in a lot of detail. So I believe the general benchmark, just a general benchmark for all destinations that we would give, is somewhere between 200 to maybe up to 350 US dollars per month, with the higher end being somewhere in the Middle East and the lower range of this average being somewhere in Asia. So it depends, but it will be within this range. Okay, so I think we are finished for today. I hope this session was informative to all of you. And we're really grateful that we've had quite a huge audience today. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you so much, Udam, for explaining everything in so much detail. I think it was very, very informative.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I hope everyone got something out of this. Maybe we are seeing someone new for the first time, and maybe they could take interest in our program. And if you do have an interest in our program, you can visit our website for more information and apply for our program if you're interested for hearing more details in our initial virtual discussion.
All right. Yes, as Udam mentioned, please feel free to visit our website. So you can see on the screen, rmcasia.org, or you can drop us an email at hello@rmcasia.org, or finally, you can just scan this QR and it will bring you to our website. And again, we will send you all a recording of this webinar. So in case you want to rewatch or share with your friends or something, please feel free to do so. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We can end here. Thank you, Udam.
Thank you. Goodbye. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.